What's up, everybody? Hello, my rock stars. Happy TGIF. I am here today for a very special edition of Rocket Live. This is one you definitely do not want to miss. So I want to welcome everybody who's watching live right now, and also want to say welcome to everybody who's watching this as a replay, and also welcome to those who will be listening to the audio version of this later on. Welcome to Rocket Live. I am joined today by two incredibly awesome guests, true rock stars, and in my humble opinion, I am joined by 420 Media's very own Kerri Accardi and Elizabeth Browde. Guys, thank you so much for coming on today. Really am so excited to have you on here.
We are too.
Really excited to be here, Chris. And as always, that's my favorite hold on any podcast I've ever been. I find myself just jamming out. So I'm really excited to be on here, and we just have incredible stuff. So excited to share.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you guys on, and I'm really excited to dive into this conversation. And you know, there's so much cool stuff happening. And Kerri, you and I had a chance to get on the show a few weeks ago, right before the holidays. We had a great time, and then even then, I know we were talking about you had some really awesome news, and we were like trying to hold back on it. It was tough too, because I kind of knew it. I was like, was careful, like, not to ask all the right questions. You know, I wanted to be very careful about it, but hey, now we can talk freely about it, and I'm so excited. I can't believe Elizabeth's on the show because she is awesome. And full disclaimer, I had an amazing opportunity to basically talk with Elizabeth the other night for like an hour, and it was just an incredible conversation.
Oh,
so
thanks, Chris.
Yeah. When we were talking about getting us together and getting you both on and talking about everything that's going on, it was just I'm just so happy we were able to make it work. So all the stars aligned today, and here you guys are. And now we are going to talk all about the brand new exciting news that's out there about this amazing new channel that's coming out. So I want to frame this up a little bit. So let's just take a step back. And Elizabeth, I know you're new to the 420 Media team as the COO. So, I'm already like, I just want to dive into talking about your background, but I would rather you share it because your background is amazing. So please share for everybody in the audience a little bit about you and sort of your journey of to how you got here and working with Kerri.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. I'm so happy to be here, and thanks so much for your support. We're really excited about this new venture that we have, and we think it's really time, and the world is ready for it. So I'm just thrilled to be part of it. So yeah, you're right. I have a very long career in broadcasting, cable, and content. Basically started as a journalist, and I did pretty much everything you could possibly do on television, from being on the air on a show called Hard Copy to producing at NBC News, Day of Air, and then from there I had a production company for about 8 years in New York, and we made all kinds of series, everything from biographies to crime stories to cooking shows. I mean, pretty much we supplied to everyone for about 10 years in the infancy of cable. And from there, I went into the networks, and I was really very fortunate to work at Discovery Networks for many years. I ran programming at Travel Channel as well as Branded Entertainment and the products there. And I also ran programming and development at TLC. And I worked with a great team there, and we had iconic shows that are still on the air today, from things like, What Not to Wear and Say Yes to the Dress. So it was really like an amazing time for cable television. And I've also, after Discovery, I really got interested in different ways to heal yourself. And I was so fortunate to be on the ground floor of an alternative health and wellness omni platform called Varia. And it was really about a lifestyle that taught you how to heal yourself naturally. So we did everything from cooking and beauty shows and talk shows, informational shows, and the miraculous ways that natural plants and herbs could heal your body. And from there, I did the total about face and worked at QVC for 6 years, taking celebrity products and bringing them to fruition. So this particular network that Kerri and I are just birthing, for lack of a better way to put it, is really the culmination of everything that Kerri and I have done for our entire lives. You know, I would not be here if it weren't for Kerri. She has been, you know, you described us as a rock star. Well, Kerri is like the original rock star in cannabis. She has been an advocate, passionate, smart, informed, never took that for granted, worked from the ground up. And you really have to give someone immense credit for just going into something and learning and not just assuming like, oh, I kind of know this, I got this. But she didn't. She learned everything from the ground up, and she has amassed an unparalleled library of this incredible footage that you cannot get anymore because unfortunately some people are not with us anymore, or that situation has passed. And it's really chronicles the history of cannabis in, you know, in the US and also globally, because she's, you know, been all over the place. So with that, kind of armed with that, we really have a jump start on anyone else that has really tried to possibly hire. And with my background of launching networks and distributing them across the US and making them a little bit more mainstream, you know, if you will, because I think unfortunately, even after, you know, so much time has passed, there's still a stigma that's attached to cannabis. And we certainly don't think that we're going to conquer that overnight, but we'd like to be able to share that with people to say like, hey, you know, it's not just about a bunch of stoners sitting around getting high, eating Fritos. It's really, you know, but if you're not in, like, if you don't know, that's a lot of the perception. And, you know, we want to be able to say, no, like cannabis is this plant that's been around for, you know, thousands of years that will help you. It's going to enrich your life. And if unfortunately you need it to like heal yourself, it will help too. And, you know, I can't say enough about how excited I am and you know, to get started on this. So, you know, we're thrilled.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I kind of look at this pairing as like the dynamic duo here because and having known Kerri for quite some time now and having, you know, even seen some of the footage and some of the things that she's been working on, I could say firsthand that the quality of the programming that I've had access to is truly amazing. And to your point, this is not the stoner channel. This is not that at all. And so Kerri, I know when you and I were on a few weeks back, and we talked a bit about it. I think it's worth though talking a little bit about it again, just so people can understand too, because I know you have a mission which you've shared very vocally on many of the outlets and things that are out there. But I think just you know, talking a little bit about your mission, but I think also too like framing up what the channel is, since I know this has been a passion for you that's really finally coming to like fruition, like it's here. So I'd like to hear a little bit from you about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And thank you, Elizabeth. And I'm so thrilled about all of this. It's a long time coming. And realistically, this was born in my heart when my aunt was still alive, and I had no information. I had nowhere to give her the information to show how medicinal the plant was. And so that was back in 2013. I literally drew it out, Chris, like, we're going to educate, we're going to like have series, and we're going to have web series, because at the end of the day, Elizabeth's right. If you're not in this industry, and I'm in this industry, so I'm so surrounded by everyone in cannabis, and we sometimes forget the reality of the outside world. And the reality is that, you know, there's people that can't use this in their state, and if they get caught with it, they'll still go to jail. There's people that need it for their health, and again, it's not an option that they're able to use. And at the same time, it is literally the fastest growing industry in our country right now, if not globally. And so there's a huge disconnect when it comes to this, very similar to that of cannabis being on a Schedule I drug, meaning no medicinal value, while having a patent on it from the US government for the medicinal value. And so I think that, you know, to frame it is this is an omni-channel that's going to reach people wherever they are, be it phone, computer, or television. They're going to be able to access this content and digest it. It is meant to feed people information and education through an educational platform. This is not school. We're not bringing in professors, although you might be able to watch that in some of our content, right? And so it's a very interesting placement. What I've learned as someone who's been on the ground since 13 is that they truly are blocking this information. So they meaning government, they meaning FCC, they meaning whomever it is. And I know that firsthand because we've had television deals with CBS. We've had deals with others who have reneged on those deals after. And then we were able to fortunately air the commercial through Spectrum Cable back in 18 and then again on the Super Bowl. And so there's this world that I think a lot of people don't understand what's open, what's not open. And it's, you know, as someone who left on a mission to educate, literally left on a mission to educate the world about cannabis after my aunt died, I did start on the ground. I was fortunate to know somebody that owned a collective, what they called a collective at the time, which is a dispensary and a grow. And so I was able to go to political council meetings. I went to learn to grow. I was able to trail people in that dispensary and understand what is that patient going through on an intake? What is a clone? What are these products? And how are we going to get this information to them where it's in a way that they can understand it? And so using my own background, I'm a trained actress, I'm a producer and a director. This is a world I feel very comfortable in. And by nature, I'm a networker. I come from a huge family, so I didn't have a fear, fortunately. And I was really naive when I started. So I literally went on the ground and met from growers to doctors to experts. I mean, the pioneers. And then as that grew, we were filming. So I've had crews throughout, since 2014, we have filmed the first of so many conferences, the first of so many businesses that just started building, where, I mean, some of them are public companies now. And so I mean, I'm sure people are going to be excited to see themselves, because it wasn't me filming on the ground, but we had crews. And so it was always part of the 420 media plan to collect this content and to use it to share this information. Back in 20, just on a reference, I mean, back in 2016, we were filming in the US Virgin Islands during their medical cannabis Senate hearing, and they played a 420 media video in that hearing, because that held patients, it had doctors, it showed what this plant was in a very digestible format that we could play and they can get that. And so that's exactly what we're doing. What we have now is we're starting with what I like to call the narrative. There is a narrative to cannabis. Cannabis has been legal in California and Washington and Oregon for 20 plus years, legal-ish, right? It was this real funny line. Most don't understand it. And I think what happened when I went on this journey, my mind was like blown away that how is this happening? What is legal-ish? Like how am I'm like walking into this store and somewhere nice, somewhere not so nice. And I'm donating, but you know, I was paying money. And when I tried that donation thing and I said, I want that high shelf, but I only have this. It didn't really correlate like that, right? And so we went into regulation. What happened during these regulations is astonishing to me. Medical patients lost access. People lost their abilities to grow in certain states. the knowledge became conflated. So I left this in New York in 13 and no one knew anything. And now in 16 and 17, they're experts. This is a problem. This is a huge problem. And it has been a problem in this industry. People are getting screwed over. There's con artists happening. People are getting, they're wasting their money because they don't know better. And what we're going to do is we're going to show them better. Then at least they can have a conscious choice to say, I know this is how to grow, or whatever that situation is, and they make a choice. Right now, people are just trying to come in, they hear cannabis, 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 and they don't really know. So we're going to start the narrative. It's 6 years of professionally filmed content. We have over 300 people on camera of different ages, ethnicities, job titles, and financial backgrounds agreeing on one thing in this crazy environment, and that is that cannabis should be legal and that cannabis is medicine. And if that was all I had, I would have been happy with that, because it's that powerful. Fortunately, it's not, and we have other series. So what we're going to be launching with are the 3 series, 5th quarter, that's hosted by Super Bowl champion Marvin Washington. We have another series hosted by nurse Heather Sobel, who runs the Cannabis Nurses Network. And then another series called Faces of Cannabis, which is about 34 pioneers in cannabis in a green screen, sharing their story, sharing insights into this industry. So, you know, we're not an action, it's not an action film. You're coming here because you want to understand cannabis and you want to get that knowledge. What we did in this launch was create an opportunity for media partners, because the biggest issue, second to education, is getting your product to market. So how do we reach those customers, or how do those customers find your products? And I know for myself in New York, they throw the word CBD around, but you can't compare a CBD at a gas station to other products that are saving children's lives and affecting autism and ADD and other stuff. And so we're going to be working on programming. We're in development now for some really, really cool ideas. And Elizabeth has been very great in understanding that we have to get the real information out before we are putting celebrities and have to worry about hosts and actors and all of this. There is a real narrative and there is a real truth to this. So the network's going to be content, commercials, advertising, interactive. We have QR codes in our commercials because it's statistically known that people are shopping while they are watching the content. So we will bring people to these websites within 30 seconds and hope to watch this industry blossom and hear stories of how many people are buying those products or feeling better because they now have this information.
Yeah, and I think that's, I'm glad you said all that, because I think it's really important just so people can understand like where this kind of started and where it is presently. And I know with Elizabeth being on board and being now part of the team and her experience of programming and with, of course, media sponsorships and things like that and actual programming itself, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that too, Elizabeth, because I know, so you've been in the industry for years, lots of experience, but when it comes to the actual cannabis side of things, this is relatively new, which is why I think that this is like why I call it the dynamic duo. Mm-hmm. From now being involved, who do you see at the end of the day being the average watcher? Who is this channel actually really targeted to from a consumer perspective at the end of the day?
I'm sure you caught me smiling a little bit while Kerri was talking. I was smiling at her, but I was also smiling because there were some comments that were coming through, and I loved that one of our listeners had said that she thought that this was great for the Canna Curious. And that's exactly right. The Canna Curious, so it's really everybody from the experienced user to the Canna Curious. I think that everyone will kind of find something that they can relate to. One of the things that I found in, my sort of like dive in the deep end, immersive experience in the cannabis industry and space is that there is some information out there on various different platforms, but it's all fractured. It's not curated in a sense to make it easy for the person who's seeking out this information. So, along with this, omni-channel or omni-platform lifestyle that we're building for content, it's also about, informational content. So if you want to find out, like Kerri mentioned, clones, someone who's kind of curious may not even know what a clone is. They may not know what a strain is. They may not know what a plant is and how you can do it. Can you eat it? Some people think that, we joke about, people are like, oh, now we're going to go buy cannabis and just dump them into brownies and eat them. Well, if you did that, that would be horrific because it wouldn't taste very good. So it's like, we're going to teach you how to do those things. So it's everything from, cooking shows that you might see on like the Food Network to, decorating with hemp. It's really like the things that you could do with this plant is pretty cool, and it sort of lines itself up in the pillars of lifestyle. So we eventually see this doing, very intense historical documentaries. We see us doing, everything from, game shows to lifestyle shows. The best thing with a lifestyle network is that you're informing, but you're not preaching. It's not like you're going, as Kerri was saying, it's not like we're going to school. It's you're learning through entertainment. And, anybody who's watched HGTV or the Food Network can attest to, like, maybe they're not going to run out and like completely like change all their cabinets in the kitchen or, make this great souffle. But in the back of their head, they think, if I had to do that, I kind of am armed now with the knowledge that I can do that. And that's what we want to do. It's like we want to arm people with the knowledge to make their own decision. We, also want to be very transparent in, what we say, like, the plant, like we've seen miraculous things happen, as we've seen, or I've seen, miraculous things happen with, different, change of diet, change of herbs, change of everything that you ingest or put on your body in some sort of like, compound. But, it's everybody's individual. Everyone's different. So, it's a community, and for people to talk, like that was one of the most important things too for Kerri and I, is to kind of build this community where like-minded people can kind of share their ideas, share the things that have worked for them, and let people make their own decisions. We certainly are not telling anyone what to do, but we're just arming them with the different information from all these different experts, and then just everyday people of what's worked for them and, how they can incorporate that into their lives.
Yeah, well said. And I think that's definitely worth noting because, a lot of, I think obviously too, I mean, the amount of disinformation, the amount of, just the prohibition that has gone on around this plant has gone on for so long. And, there's been just so much like bad information that it's just, at this point, so many people take it for truth because it's all they've ever known. And it feels like such an uphill battle, and it has been, but it is becoming more and more mainstream. And it's why I feel like that what you guys are doing, what the mission you're on, and the content that I've had some access to see, I think is just wonderful because it really begins to tell it like it is, but from a really very accessible and digestible way that's not beating you over the head, and it's just not like your typical like recreational like stoner type stuff, which hey, it's funny, but that's just a small tip of like what is out there and what is accessible, and yeah, so while there's the high entertainment value of the comedy of recreational cannabis, there is a humongous amount of information there on the medicinal and health and wellness side of things that is just it's just something I think is missing, and I love that that's something that's on the forefront, but yet it's not like you're not beating everybody over the head with it, and I think that's really key. So I would ask this, and I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is so obviously, and I've seen them, and I know you guys have seen them too. There are other cannabis channels out there. I mean, I know if I go on Roku right now or Amazon, I could download apps. Where do you feel like you fit in? Where is this different from that in your eyes? And do you visually, where do you see the success?
So I'll start the initial is the difference, Chris, is really Elizabeth is our audience, and she hasn't watched any of the other channels yet. And I love some of the other channels, so we don't knock anyone. We are here we align. This is about educating about a plant. They're not reaching the audience that we're reaching, i.e. mothers, grandmothers, patients, people who are really looking for that. Maybe their child is sick and they're seeking that information of maybe other children's stories or other mother stories. Maybe they want to learn how to use raw cannabis because there's no psychoactive effect, right? And so I believe that just our approach is just completely different than what I've seen to date. We're very much a cable of cannabis. We have different series that will come on. And I think that I just haven't really to date seen that. I think a lot of others are using other content. They're using repetitive content. It's a different audience. I think there's great channels for culture, incredible channels for culture, but we're really, at the end of the day, the reason I started this was because I was watching my 55-year-old aunt die, and she didn't have the information. She didn't have that toolbox to fall back on and say, hey, wait, maybe there is something else. And so I think that as legalization is happening across the board, as I stated, and New York is lined up now, people still have no idea what's going on. And then the more crowded it gets is people are putting themselves on panels, or they're paying, right? Because there's a pay to play. Right. And so it's misinforming, right? And so there's people saying, they're just truly saying the wrong things about the plant. And, I had a conversation recently with someone who thought CBD was new. And I giggled and I said, what? First I was like, what? I didn't understand. And then I was like, well, and they said the farm bill. I said, well, that's true. The farm bill is new and you're new. But we have content from 2014 and from a really high level experts in CBD talking about a new product that's going to hit the market called CBD, and it's going to be filled with some garbage and some is going to be good and XYZ from 2014. We're in 2021, and I just heard that someone thought CBD was new. There's others who don't even know what CBD is. Now you have a CBG, you have CBN, you have THC, you have THCA, you have all these different, so it can be very overwhelming for people. And what we're going to do is we're going to create content where it almost starts in a way for dummies, right? It's just here's some information, i.e. the narrative, right? Here's some background of it. And then as we're even cooking shows or grow shows or historicals, we're not throwing just competition and celebrities at people, although they're part of it. And as the same way as we're going to have comedy in it too. We're not like, oh, we're so serious and weird. But this is really important information that's not being getting out. We all have what we call an endocannabinoid system. We have receptors on a molecular level for cannabis. People don't know this. Doctors don't know this. So we're fortunate that we're going to be able to work with some of our Harvard doctors and other global doctors to help get this information out. But it's not Elizabeth and I just saying it. It's coming from their peers, just like it's coming from Marv, if it's an athlete, or it's coming from a nurse, or it's coming from a mom. I haven't had to take care of a sick child to understand the levels. I've seen enough. But when you hear that mother talk about, you want to judge cannabis, well, why don't you judge Klonopin? Why don't you judge this pharmaceutical and that pharmaceutical and that pharmaceutical.
Right.
So I think people are lose perspective. We need to own our lives. We need to take control of our health. If there's ever been a time, right now shows us how important our health is and how important it is to keep our immune systems up. And you by feeding your endocannabinoid system with cannabis and others, you can heal yourself. You can feel better. You can, go as far as I know people that don't have cancer anymore because they use the plant. And yet we're not going to sit here and blow smoke up people's booties. We are going to share true stories about what's going on, and even the stuff that maybe not be good, because there are people that cannabis is just not right for them, and that's okay. But we want to put that proper information out, and we'll have programs that have different definitions and words and our site. And so this is a true cannabis platform. And to add to that is we have probably the most mainstream vendors in the space through the 420 Media Agency to advertise. And so even when we put our packages in together, we included Times Square billboards, we're including commercials, we're including localized advertising, and we are doing the same thing for the channel. So right now we're just sharing with the industry, hey, this is what we're doing. Who's coming to play? Who's going to come be our launch partners and pay attention? If it's not now, maybe it's our next one, because we're moving this forward and big. And right. You are coming here because you want to learn about cannabis. And what is that going to mean when you have two football players talking about cannabis and football and suicide and pain and how this plant helps them? And then maybe it goes to a commercial for a transdermal patch. Most don't know what a transdermal patch is. But let me tell you, a transdermal patch, like a Band-Aid, I could put on my back and go out of pain for up to 32 hours, I've experienced, with right. No psychoactive. And so what is that going to bring to people and bring to that company that has the transdermal patch to be seen up here with all the PR, with all the press, with all the great team that we have, in addition to Elizabeth and myself.
And to follow up on that, and this is a question for Elizabeth, because your experience there is, let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about brands and companies. What is the message here? I mean, what's the value for them to get in on this now? I mean, what does that really look like for you? Because I mean, you've built channels and networks from the ground up, so obviously that foundation is strong. And so from your standpoint, what is the true value for brands and companies coming on board on this now and getting involved?
I think that, Kerri had mentioned and said, quite succinctly that there isn't really an outlet now for companies that have these products to reach their consumers. I mean, they're just not, there isn't a place for them now. So, we know that our platform will be this place. What's differentiating our platform, say, from other platforms that are out there, is that we are looking to be like that authentic, trusted voice in the cannabis space. So it's all things cannabis from a lifestyle perspective. And we hope to become like, there are some networks that I like to call companion networks. They're like, wherever you are, you kind of tune that in because hey, there's going to be something that I'm interested in on that network. There are very few networks like that, but some of the more genre-driven, category-driven networks, like the Food Network, like DIY, like HGTV, they look at the world and lifestyle through the lens of their category. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at the world, but we're coming through it through the lens of cannabis. So we're creating this environment where it's safe. It's really safe for these companies to come, show what they have to offer. We now have an audience that's built in, that's coming to us because they're interested in it. They are already users. They're just curious. They want to find out about it. But now they've got this array of products that will help them take action. And that's the difference between a lot of different platforms. Some platforms you look at, and I see a lot of the things that are out there, you know, whether it's like people around kind of smoking and laughing and giggling and listening to music, that's kind of like a lean back kind of thing. It's an entertainment. You're looking at it, you're laughing too. Maybe you're smoking, maybe you're whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
But for us, it's more of like a lean in. And we want to inspire people to aspire. So it's like we're inspiring to aspire them to, you know, live, you know, to borrow something from Oprah, but it's like to live their best life. And if we can provide information that perhaps cannabis can help them live a better life, that's great. But we're not just providing them with the information. We're looking at our sponsors, especially the ones that are coming on board right now, as true partners. They're true partners. There's so much value add for each of us. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, if you're starting something, it's like, oh, hey, please advertise, but they don't know who your customer is going to be, who your viewer is going to be. We're going to have a contract with our audience as well as a contract with our partners. We're going after people who are curious, already interested, or already in the space of cannabis. You've got a built-in consumer base. And that's what we're offering. We're also offering a chance to tell their stories. Like everyone has a story. And that's what content and brands do when they do it successfully and when it's most successful for both parties, is that you tell the story in a way that it really enhances both brands. So it becomes branded on both sides, if you will, and it's integrated both into the content and into the brand story itself, because their story really is part of our story. You know, if it weren't for these products, we couldn't tell the stories that we're able to tell. So, you know, in a lot of ways, it's a service industry for the companies. I'm not so sure that they'll look at it like that in the beginning, but it's our job to kind of make them, you know, think about it like that. And, you know, we definitely are interested in telling the stories. I mean, I can envision seeing some sort of like a version of Unwrapped, you know, and how is this made? And, you know, how do they strip plants? What kind of like machines do they have to do that? People love to see that kind of stuff. I love to see that kind of stuff.
I would love to see that.
Exactly. I mean, just like a simple thing, like for someone who is really just kind of like inching into the space, full disclosure, you know, I was suffering with an illness, and from the side effects of the treatments and the drugs that I was given, I really, you know, was told that if you try cannabis, you know, maybe it's going to alleviate some of like your nausea and some of your side effects. And I was in a state, it wasn't legal. I had to go to a parking lot, and I felt like I was like some sort of, you know, person on a drug deal. I'm looking around in the supermarket parking lot, you know, exchanging cash. And, you know, and for me, like, it was like a kind of a big deal. And, you know, I don't even know how to roll a joint. So it's like, even to have like a tutorial, that'd be awesome, because, you know, that would be great. Or like where to go to buy that? Like, where do you go? Is it like, you know, can I go to a dispensary now to get that? Or can I buy them? Like, I don't even know. Like, you know, it's like, I'm learning now, but like, it's just, if you know, talked to me 4 months ago, I really wouldn't have known any of this. So I think that is really information that the public deserves to know, you know, and you know, and once they know, it's like, again, it's up to them. It's not, we're not preaching, you know, sure, we've got personal stories that we can advocate for it. But, you know, it's really about people making up their own minds and, you know, choosing and to do what they feel is best for them and best for their families.
Yeah, I think that's so well said, the way you just wrapped that up, because I think that's really true, is that, listen, it's not like we're forcing anybody to do anything they don't want to do. All the mission is here is to just bring you the correct information and dispel all the myths and rumors and just, you know, just garbage that's out there that's just not true. So I think that's a great point that you just made there, and I think it's a real important one for everybody out there who just, you know, heard that and is listening to this to really understand.
to touch on that, expand on that, is we really are bringing true information out because of my travels and extensive network in this space. I've amassed an amazing network of true pioneers that understand this plant like I've never seen before. So we're going to be incorporating both the cannabis knowledge that has been around for millennia, really, to where people don't maybe know those people because they're up in the woods, you know, in the mountains growing, because that's what they do. And I've been very fortunate and privy to meet these people because I go to the mountains to meet them. And so now we're able to combine it, and we're able to utilize trained hosts, actors, celebrities with true knowledge of the plant, whether they're consulting, whether they're involved on camera, or they're on our board. And so we take it very, very seriously about the information we're putting out. We are not looking to be a reefer madness, and we're also not looking to come in and exploit the industry. We're here to support and enhance people's brands and their stories. And our business across the board in both the 420 Media Agency and the channel does not exist unless we're working with people with their stories and brands. It was built and is being built for them. And that's the difference, I think, than someone coming in that green rusher sense saying, I'm gonna make so much money. And let me tell you, I watched them and I've dealt with this for many years. And what happens is it's all about the execution. So I'm going to hedge a bet, as I have for 7 years, that we are executing a mission that is going to educate through entertainment, give information, and then give access, because now people also know where they can go and get that product. And it's a very empowering situation for a viewer who is just completely lost and knows that they need to use this plant one way or the other because they're seeing it everywhere, but they don't know where to start.
Yeah, well, that was really well said, and I think that really sums it up really well with everything that the two of you are totally accomplishing. And I tip my hat to you both. I truly do. I like I said at the top, but I'm going to say it again. I think the both of you are rock stars, and you are truly helping other people to really see the light and really get the correct information out there, and just, you know, doing something really good. And it's coming from such an honest and authentic place, and I think that's really wonderful. So, two burning questions that we're going to end with, because I know everybody who's watching and listening wants to know. So, where and when?
You can go ahead, Kerri.
So we're going to premiere on 4/20/21 this year. So we're celebrating, and during a year where these events can't happen, who knows, maybe we'll have watch parties and share this channel. We have a lot in the works in the next few months that we're working on. And where we're initially going to start is when we're going on OTT. So we're going to go Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Fire Stick, mobile apps on Android and iOS, and as well as online. And then, you know, cross-platform, I'm sure YouTube, Vimeo, and some of the other the platforms. Elizabeth's a rock star in distribution. I imagine people will start seeing our stuff outside of our channel. But really, it's really meant to go across the board, and we are global. So this is going to be a really big deal. So it's accessible. TV, phone, computer.
Great. It's the content you want where you want it. So you know, we're looking forward to launching you know, on that day that celebrates the plant. So it's a win-win.
Should be a national holiday. It's kind of an unofficial national holiday at this point.
It actually is, Chris. It really is. It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah. Well, this was an amazing conversation, and I want to thank the both of you so very much for spending time with me today and sharing all this information to everybody out there who's watching and listening to this. Where can anybody sign up or get information right now so they can get notified when launch is happening, or any kind of pre-information? Where can people go?
Yeah, right now we have an informational page up under a new cannabischannel.com. It is literally an informational page that I bought a URL because it's a new cannabis channel. So for clarity, that is not the name of our channel. That is not the platform. But this is while things are being built, you know, this is a process. They can go there to get the information. They can go into subscribe, and we will keep everyone updated as news comes out. I mean, we have a lot of different announcements coming out, so we're hoping you see us weekly, daily, and then people share, you know, and people are sharing what we're doing and how they're involved. Right. You know, we have some really great sponsors already, and it's just going to be a really, I call it the Reefer Madness No More party. You have to be there. It just matter where are you general admission or are you VIP? What ticket are you at? And so that's how I would say to my colleagues and to the cannabis industry and anyone with products or services that are seeking mainstream exposure, we're for you. We are for mainstream, but be ready for that mainstream exposure as well. Be ready, because you don't also want to be stuck with orders that you can't fulfill. And so these are serious things for people to think about, because we're
going places, going far. Going to the moon.
Elon Musk is building Wi-Fi in Mars, so you just don't know. You just don't know.
We're going to send him up with the first plant.
Maybe to colonize Mars.
That's right. I'm going to send it here first, Chris. So this will be worth a lot of money.
They were growing potatoes on that movie, and you know, switch potatoes with cannabis.
Exactly. So potatoes.
Well, you know, once again, I do want to thank everybody, you know, very much for watching today. And we got another comment here. Hey, can't wait to check out the channel when it's live. Look at this. You've already got getting a lot of new fans here. So
awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing all the information. Thanks everybody so much for watching today's episode of Rocket Live, and make sure you head over to newcannabischannel.com to sign up for information. Once again, not the official name of the channel, but a place where you can get information on the launch of this coming on 4/20 this year, and basically everywhere. I mean, any device, you'll be able to watch this amazing content. So, and I am so happy. Congratulations to both of you on this amazing achievement, and I can't wait. I'm like everybody else. I'm giddy with excitement. I'll be there on 4/20, like ready to download and ready to watch with everybody else. So
great. Thanks so much, Chris. We'll see you before then, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. Yeah, this will not be the last time we're doing this, but so yeah, thank you everybody, and please make sure that wherever you're watching this or listening to this, that you hit that subscribe button, so that way you get notified every time I put up a new episode of the video series or the podcast. And I want to thank everybody who watches live, who watches the replay, and will be listening to this on audio. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of the weekend. And remember, always be authentic, be yourself, and always remember to rock it.